Hey guys, welcome back to Jess Reads Romance. I'm Jessin, and today I'm going to be doing a book haul. And this is a pretty large book haul because the last time I did it was the beginning of April, I want to say, because I was like hauling all the books that I got in March. So it's been a while. My books have been stacking up because I just kind of stack them and I don't shelve them. So I know which books that I haven't hauled. And I was like, wow, this pile looks a little bit big. I need to start actually hauling these. So I'm going to start doing that. We have quite a few to go through. I have lots of historicals. I think I'm going to flip-flop between historicals and then like the contemporaries and stuff like that. So first off, I finally found a copy of Lord of Scoundrels with this cover. I've been looking everywhere for it at a reasonable price. It didn't pop up on eBay that often, and sometimes I just missed out on it, and it finally popped up on my radar, and I was so excited to get it because it's just a beautiful cover. It really is. I love it. I love all the flowers in the background. I love the embrace. It just is classic. It's classic, and I really love Lord of Scoundrels. This was one of the historical romances that was recommended actually by Kennedy Ryan. Kennedy Ryan recommended this book for me, and it did not disappoint. I freaking loved it. One of the most badass female heroines in historical romance to date is in this book. I love her. Jess is amazing. So very excited to have that in my collection. Next, I got recently Anne Stewart's To Love a Dark Lord, and I've actually read a few of Anne Stewart's before. I read her Wicked House of Rohan series quite a few years ago because I was still going to like Books A Million like on the regular, finding random books over there, and I remember seeing the cover of Breathless, I want to say. I'll pop that one right here. I saw Breathless and I was like, ooh, intriguing. What is this? This is whenever I was like just delving into historical romance. So Anne Stewart was one of the first historical romance authors that I kind of discovered. I read that series and I never picked up another one by her again. And then recently I saw some of her covers and I was like, I have to have these old school ones. And the embrace, the moonlit embrace. How can you beat this? It's amazing. I love it. So this one says, to survive, Emma has committed a shocking crime. The notorious scoundrel James has agreed to accept the responsibility of her desperate act. Though the handsome Irish Earl professes no interest whatsoever in the enchanting miss whom he had surely rescued from the gallows. Hurt and confused by his indifference, Emma is nonetheless drawn to his elegant, arrogant rogue who uses people for his own amusement, but is always there when she most needs him. For she believes James hides true goodness behind his decadent facade, and only the power of love can restore hope and tenderness to the dark and damaged heart and release the passionate lover imprisoned within. Girl, you get him. You get him. Next, I have Shadow Dance, and I thought that this cover was really gorgeous. I love the colors, and I love all of the embossed like flowers and trees and leaves. It just like, I don't know. I'm a girl who really likes whenever the covers are like textured and stuff, and I love a good man chest like on display front and center. I really like that he's like in front. So this is a closer look. I absolutely love all the color combos. And this one says that the hero, Valerian, is wrongly accused of his father's murder, and he's disguised as his older brother, Phelan's wife. He's disguised as a woman. Ruffles and lace cannot hide Valerian's fevered passion for the lovely and confused Sophie, while Phelan yearns for the tormented beauty Juliet. I'm so confused. Oh, his brother's not actually married. He's just like posing as his brother's wife. So is this a double romance? Two brothers find love. Valerian is in love with Sophie and Phelan is in love with Juliet. Wait, hold on. And Juliet is dressing in men's clothing to escape a heartless abuser. And now both peril and ecstasy await them as they move in a seductive dance of deception where every false protective mask must ultimately be stripped away to reveal the true radiant and rapturous love beneath. This is interesting. I might read this one sort of soon. I don't know. We'll see. I really like that description. I've never read a book like that. Then this is a book haul that can be attributed to Bookstagram Made Me Do It. I saw a couple of these covers and I just had to have them. And Crystal recently read one of these. I'm pretty sure I have it. So I got a few Deborah Mullins, and this is Notorious, A Necessary Bride, and I really like this cover as well. I love her hair. Very cool. And it says, so apparently the heroine Margaret, she doesn't want to get married. Meg wants to experience life before she's like has to settle down. And Justin, who is the Earl of Rathmore, he wants her for his bride, and he also has a young ward named Emily, and so he wants to marry to make sure that his ward, Emily, has like a great introduction to society. So it seems like he's pursuing her and she's like, I don't want to get married. That's really interesting. I'm very intrigued. Then I have this one, A Necessary Husband, which I'm not sure if they're connected or not. I really should look up these books and see if they have a connection. But it says, Garrett Lynch bursts into a glittering ballroom like a wild man, hapless footmen clinging to each powerful arm, and Lucinda is appalled and also impressed. He's very uncivilized, he's barbaric, and he's very strong and manly, so she's impressed by that. Then apparently he's the long-lost heir of the Duke of Rainwood, and that it's her job to transform him into a proper English gentleman. Interesting. I like the premise of this book as well. This one has definitely gone on the top of my list for Deborah Mullins. I think I might have to try this one. This sounds very interesting. I like it. And then we have the one that Crystal tried, which is 3 Nights. So the heroine, Evelyn, is honoring her father's gambling debt, and she agrees to submit for 3 nights to Lucian's every desire, 3 nights of blistering sensuality and unparalleled ecstasy in the arms of this dashing dark rogue they call Lucifer. And then he vanishes after those 3 nights of passion. Interesting. Apparently Lucian gets kidnapped by a band of evil brigands, and now 5 years after his abduction and imprisonment, he's returned to London, searching for the enemy responsible and finding instead the beauty who still haunts his dreams. Interesting. So second chance romance? Very cool. Then we have Once a Mistress, which this was the book that I saw on Bookstagram, and I was like, I'm gonna go check out Deborah Mullins and see if she has some really cool covers, and I found a lot, and I was like, yep, buying all of that. So Once a Mistress, I love this yellow dress. If you have been on my channel at any amount of time, you know that I really love yellow, and I really love whenever the heroines are wearing a yellow dress. So I definitely had to have this one. And it says the heroine Diana was abducted, but then she gets kind of rescued by somebody. Charming pirate. So now she becomes his captive. Oh, he's an earl disguised as a pirate, and now she is his captive, and so they fall in love. So pirate romance, this is interesting. I would love to know how an earl became a pirate. The next one was a library copy, and I still need to take the stickers off of it because they're not too cute. I hate library copies because they usually have the most stickers, and it's just very annoying. But this is The Lawman's Surrender, and so I'm wondering if this is going to be like Western historical romance. Yeah, it says U.S. Marshal Jedediah Brown never expected to see the blonde beauty again, not in a jail cell. So they've met before. So it seems like the heroine was like a woman who tempted him about a year ago, but he decides that his job's more important, so he kind of left her. And she's supposedly innocent, and he doesn't believe her, so he has to bring her to trial. Interesting. I'm very intrigued by that one. And then this one is Donovans Bed, and I really love this one. Oh, it's so sensual. Look at his long hair. Look at all of the shiny muscles. I love this one. This one says, so apparently the story starts when Donovan's new big bed, ornate and big enough for an entire family or one hot-blooded woman, makes its way through town. And then the heroine is a newspaper editor, and she retaliates by writing in the newspaper that he's looking for a wife. And so now he has like all kind of people, widows and young women looking to marry him. And so this sounds very interesting. Definitely on the top of my list of the Deborah Mullins that I have hauled today. Then I got Charming the Prince by Teresa Medeiros, and I actually saw this on Crystal's Instagram feed like a long time ago, and it's always been on my list. And finally, whenever we read the Teresa Medeiros after midnight for the Rake Appreciation Society, I decided I was definitely going to go hunt down this book because I thought it was beautiful, and I love the Stepback. It's very medieval, and I love it. So it seems that the hero, Lord Banner the Bold, he is looking for a bride to be the mother to his dozen unruly children. And he's looking for a bride, and he sends his steward out to go get somebody who's like meek, mild, not attractive because he doesn't want any more children. And the steward comes back with the exact opposite, somebody who is extremely beautiful and very tempting. And apparently she joins in with the children's antics to kind of make his life a living hell. So So I'm very interested to read Teresa Medeiros' Charming the Prince. I think that it sounds amazing, amazing. Definitely gonna go on the top of my list of books that I need to read. Next, I found a copy of the Stephanie Lawrence books. It's a Sinster novel. It's part of the Sinster series. It's called Where the Heart Leads. I've already read this book, but I really wanted it to add to my collection with Stepbacks. This Stepback is so freaking gorgeous. And this is actually, I really love this book. It's about Barnaby and Penelope, and neither of them are part of the Sinster family. Actually, Penelope's brother married one of the twins. He married Amelia. And so this is one of Lucian's younger sisters, Penelope, and she likes to do good work. She works at this orphanage, and Barnaby, he is sort of a detective, and I really love this romance so much. So I'm really excited to have this one in my collection. Then I found a copy of Captain Jack's Woman, which this is a prequel novel to her Bastion Club series, and I have yet to read this series at all, and I really love the cover for this one, and I'm pretty sure I have probably all of the books in the Bastion Club series. I just need to pick one up. I just need to pick one up and start reading the series. But I love this cover. It's very beautiful. She's like wearing a bonnet too, which is very interesting. And I know that she is masquerading as a boy, I believe, and he might be a pirate. Okay, so he's the commander for a smuggling gang, and she's the lad who's the leader of a rival gang. Very interesting. I'm intrigued. I know nothing about the Bastion Club, so I don't know how this book ties in. I don't know if she wrote this book first, because it is a prequel, which means they usually had started writing the series and they go back to write a prequel, so I'm not sure how that'll all tie in. I'm gonna go look up and see what order they were published, and I'll probably read it in that order instead of reading the prequel first. Okay, and now it's time for a few contemporaries. I got Hannah Khan Carries On by Uzma Jalaluddin, and I don't know if I ever said this in any of the videos, but the first arc that I ever received was Aisha at Last by Uzma Jalaluddin, and that was her debut novel, and I really loved that cover as well. But this one's just like so pretty. I love how her hijab is like leopard print. Look at that. It's just so pretty. And this is very cool. I really like the premise of this story. Hannah's family owns a restaurant, and it's slow times for them, and the restaurant's in Toronto, but what she really actually wants is to be on the radio, and she is an intern at a local radio, and she also has started a podcast as well. But then there's like some family secrets, something going on. Another rival restaurant has opened up, and her love interest is the owner of the new restaurant. So I'm very intrigued by this. I totally love this cover, so I'll have to buy it, and I'm excited to see how this like star-crossed lovers romance plays out. Next, I got Twisted Love by Anna Huang, and this is actually a exclusive cover by Target that I got. Crystal's the one who actually told me about this, and I purchased this before I even finished Twisted Love. It was definitely an interesting romance. I gave it 4 stars, but I am glad to get the limited edition cover. I always have FOMO when it comes to limited edition covers now, so I was just like, grab it. Then I got A Bad Day for Sunshine by Dorinda Jones. I've already read this one as well, and I was actually waiting for it to come out in paperback. I did not want to get the hardcover for this one. This one's like ultra floppy too. I love the feel of this book so much. I cannot wait for A Bad Day for Chardonnay. Like, that's also one of my most anticipated reads for this year. But first I need to reread this book because it's been a while. It's been over a year since I've read A Bad Day for Sunshine, so I need to update myself on where the story ended and all the history that's going on. But it's such a great story. The romance is just getting started. In classic Dorinda Jones, it's going to be a slow burn. There's no intense romance between Sunshine and her love interest in this one. Her daughter actually gets more romantic scenes with her friend, and I just love it. It's so good, and I can't wait to reread this book. It was amazing. Then I did get Sorted by Nikki Sloan, and I was so upset because the very corner of this book, it got a little bit damaged, but this was one of the books that I didn't get to in the Mafia Romance readathon, so I do need to read it, but I have so many books on my June TBR that I need to take care of first, and then I'll circle back to this one and the many other books that I would like to read. I just don't have enough time in the day, but I am trying to focus on my actual June TBR and make sure that I get those read before I like go off and start reading random books. Like, I want to just pick up all the books and be like, this is fine, I'll still have time, and then I'll scramble at the end of the month. So I'm going to save that one. Speaking of limited edition covers, I jumped on Elle Kennedy's Abs covers when she said that they were coming back in the mass market pocket size. So I really love the deal. And these covers, she used to sell them in the trade pub size, but for some reason when she said that they were discontinuing those covers, like I was warned, I had the email, and I just didn't purchase those books, and then I regretted it. I regretted it so much that I did not purchase the books because the Abs covers are better than the covers that they have. Also, the Legacy, which is an anthology that's coming out later this year, is going to match with this size, so I'm not mad about it anymore because I got all the mass markets in the off-campus series. It's going to match the Legacy, so I'm not mad about it at all. I love these books so much. Like, I'm gonna have to do a reread of the off-campus series before Legacy comes out. The Legacy comes out. Also, in my opinion, the off-campus series is a much stronger series than the Briar U one. That's my personal opinion. Okay, these next two books are not, I believe that they're not romances, but I bought them anyway because I really do love Greek mythology. So I got the UK cover edition for Circe. Sometimes there are these UK covers that I just absolutely have to have. Circe was one of those covers. I just really love it so much. I love inside the map right here. It's just so pretty. So I think that this purchase was well worth it. If you've been on my channel at all, then you know that I love getting the UK cover editions for Nalini Singh's Side Changeling series. So that kind of like started my love of going check out UK cover editions. And so I grabbed Circe, and I actually might try to read this book this summer before I get back into school. So I don't know. I'm not gonna like put it on my TBR since it's not a romance book, but I definitely do want to try to read this book during the summer. I also had to get the UK cover edition for Ariadne because, oh my God, the book cover is so good. I just love it. The gold foil, like, look at that shine. It's beautiful. I adore, adore, adore this book cover. So much more than the US cover. But again, another book that I want to read this summer before I go back to school. I also want to get the Song of Achilles, but I actually like the US cover more than I like the UK cover, so I'll probably grab that so that it could match with the hardcovers of this. I don't often buy hardcover books, but sometimes you just have to. Speaking of hardcovers, I did get Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Recently, I read A Court of Thorns and Roses series for the very first time, and I do want to read Crescent City also this summer. This will probably end up on my July TBR because it's time. I need to read this one. It's a pretty hefty book. I'm excited. I haven't read anything. Oh my God, this is so pretty. I didn't even open this book. I have been having this book since April, I think, and I never cracked it open at all, but this is so pretty. So this is the first time I'm seeing this. How freaking cool is this? What is this? I don't know what this is, but I love it. I also really love the crescent on the front. Okay, it's going on my July TBR, just letting you guys know. And then whenever I went to the only used bookstore that we have in this area, which is also like a 45-minute drive from where I'm at on a side of town that I never go to, I did discover that there was a hardcover edition of City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This was one of my favorite YA series whenever I was in high school. I loved it so much. And I have the paperbacks for City of Bones and City of Ashes, but then I have hardcovers for the rest of the series. So I kind of wanted the original hardcover for City of Bones and City of Ashes to kind of complete that series. Also, Lit Crate Joy, oh my gosh, what is it called? Lit Joy Crate is coming out with some exclusive covers for this series, the Mortal Instrument series, and I'm definitely buying it. It's gonna be pricey. I don't care. I still love this series. I'm still ride or die for it, and I will purchase them. So you'll be seeing that later on in the year whenever I finally get that box in. And then speaking of nostalgic teenage YA series that I really love, recently it was announced that Vampire Academy was being optioned for a TV series by the same showrunners who did Vampire Diaries, and I decided to get the anniversary cover of Vampire Academy because it's one of my favorite series. It's one of my favorite series, just full stop. I love it. I love the romance between Rose and Dimitri. Dimitri was on my book boyfriends list for a long while. He's probably going to make a comeback, especially if I reread the series, which it's probably going to happen. I'm obsessed with them, and I think this was my first age gap romance ever. Maybe started my love of age gap romance, so I had to have the special edition cover for that. Okay, let's get it with these historicals. I got another Joanna Lindsey, Say You Love Me. Whoa, Say You Love Me. And what a beautiful step back. I love it. So this is a Mallory novel. I can't say that I'm going to read a Joanna Lindsay again. I've tried a couple of hers. I have not liked any of them, but she has some of the best covers in romance, and this Stepback was so pretty, so I picked it up from that used bookstore. I also found these gems. So I really love Christine Feehan's Drake sister novels, and Safe Harbor is one of my favorite, and they also have sexy men. He's like glowing. He's glowing. I freaking love it. This is Hannah and Jonas's book, and he's the sheriff. Like, does that look like a sheriff to you? It doesn't. It doesn't, but I don't care. I don't care. I had to have it. I also got Hidden Currents, which is the last book in that Drake sister series. So I am going to be looking for the rest of the series because I don't own them. This is Jackson. And yeah, I was like, why not add to my collection? Also, this is another gem that I really love. Eloisa James's Desperate Duchess series. This was the first series that I ever read by Eloisa James way back when. And I want to collect her Desperate Duchess series. I really love the Stepback as well. It's very pretty. And this Duchess of mine, I believe this is the married couple. Yeah, this was one of my favorites, and this is a married couple. So marriage has been in trouble for a while. Second chance romance between a married couple who never got divorced. And these are all books that I found at that used bookstore. Then I finally found a copy of Scandalous Desires with the Stepback. It took the longest time, and I'm so glad that I actually went to this bookstore because they had it, and look how gorgeous. It's a bathtub Stepback. This was honestly the one that I wanted the most, the Stepback. One of my favorite Stepbacks in Maiden Lane series is Scandalous Desires because that bathtub scene. Gotta love a good bathtub Stepback, so I was really excited to see that one. Then I have When Strangers Marry by Lisa Kleypas, another one which I didn't have the Stepback for, and that red, beautiful. I mean, like, it is just coming off her. We love to see it. We love to see that. I also found this edition of The Wolf and the Dove. Now, I already have an edition of The Wolf and the Dove, but I thought that this one was really pretty, so I just had to get it. Also, I find it hilarious that this is like the only romance book that I have, or romance author that I've like bonded with my grandmother, because when I was reading Shanna for the Historical Hellions, my grandmother was like, I think I've read that book. Oh yeah, that's the one who wrote The Wolf and the Dove and stuff like that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Now whenever I see Kathleen Woodiwiss, I think of my grandmother. Then I love the Stepback. This is The Prince of Midnight by Laura Kinsella, and the Stepback is to die for. Look at that. I love moonlit Stepbacks. And she just like bearing it all. I absolutely love it. I have never read Flowers in the Storm, and I know that that is one of the books that by Laura Kinsella that everybody talks about. I do want to find a paperback copy of that one though, and I've been looking and I haven't found it, but I found this one while I was looking, and I'm very interested. And this is another Bookstagram made me do it. Look at this cover. Look at it. Look how freaking gorgeous. I love the colors of her dress. I love her long flowing red hair. It's beautiful. So, Sweet Deception. So apparently the heroine accidentally killed her husband in self-defense, and now she is fleeing and she has nowhere to go. And she makes a life for herself on the London stage under the assumed name Ellen Scarlett. The hero is the brother of her freaking husband that she killed in self-defense. Oh my God. So it says Gavin Merrick came to London under an assumed identity for one reason only, to track down the woman who had killed his brother. So I'm assuming that this is the brother of her husband. Otherwise, it's very coincidental that his brother died. She's looking for the murderer and she killed her husband in self-defense. I don't know. I'm calling it and saying that he is the younger brother, because the synopsis actually doesn't say that he's the younger brother. There are rules about marrying the brother of your dead husband, so I don't know if that would work. And then, you guys, if you watched my Mafia Romance readathon TBR video, then you've probably already seen these books, but I did recently haul these right before the Mafia Romance readathon. These are some of my favorite Mafia romances of all time, and there's some pretty hefty books. Filthy by Serena Ackroyd. This is the first book in the series, and I really love it. There's lots of age gaps in this series. It's an Irish mob, but the family is so good. Everyone's really close-knit, and I really love that for a Mafia romance. Then we have Filthy Rich, which is one of the shortest ones in the series. I really like this one as well. There's none in the series that I dislike. None in the series that I dislike. Filthy Dark, really like this one as well. This one's a second chance romance, I believe. Yep, that's the second chance romance. One of my favorites, this is my favorite in the series, Filthy Sex. I love it. It's so good. Camille, my ride or die in this series is the heroine. I love her so much. And then the most recently released one is Filthy Hot. There's only one book in the series left. All the brothers will have their stories told. And I know that she plans on writing kind of like a spin-off, 2 spin-offs from this one. One of them is The Lady and the Something. It's gonna be a duet, and it is connected with the series. She likes to connect her books, like her motorcycle romance and her mafia romance are connected. You don't have to read one to understand the other, but characters pop up and I want to know who they are. So that's how I feel about that situation. And then Sophie Lark. Sister, let me tell you, Sophie Lark, I've been on a Sophie Lark binge. I love her so much, so much. So let me tell you the story of how I discovered Sophie Lark. It was this book cover that did it for me. The Heir. This book cover has sold me on Sophie Lark, okay? For our Patreon for the podcast, every month we have a themed kind of book club pick. And the theme for this month was new adult contemporary romance. And Marta, one of our longtime patrons, suggested The Heir, which is formerly titled The Freshman, and that's the one that she suggested. It's the same book, it's the same cover, except it's just retitled. So she had suggested, it was called The Freshman by Sophie Lark. I immediately saw the cover and I put it on my list of like, I need to go check this out. Some other book won for that month, but Jen and I were talking about this. I was like, ooh, this one looks intriguing. I kind of want this one to win. She looked it up and she was like, I think it's a spinoff from another one of her series. And so that's how Jen and I discovered Sophie Lark and discovered her Brutal Birthright series. And then this is the spinoff from the Brutal Birthright series. I love The Heir. Then we have The Rebel, which is the second book in the series. I loved it. It sets up the romance. You have to read them in order because it sets up the romance for her new release, which is actually releasing tomorrow, which will be today by the time this video comes out. I'm so excited. I'm probably very deep in the bully already by the time this video comes out. And we also have a live show with her, so I'm very excited about it. And you definitely have to read the first 2 books in the series to understand the bully. But of her Brutal Birthright series, I have 2 favorites, and those are the books that I purchased. Stolen Heir, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I loved it. The hero is the head of a Polish mafia family, and the heroine is a ballerina. He kidnaps her. And I just really love their romance. They're definitely opposites attract couple. But my all-time favorite book by Sophie Lark has got to be Broken Vow. We're going to be doing a podcast on this, a podcast episode, so we'll be reviewing it and going in depth into everything that happens in Broken Vow. My favorite couple that Sophie Lark has written. And I really would love to own copies of her Underworld series. They're shorter books, so I don't know if she would get them in print. I don't know how big they would be, but I'm hoping maybe she could do like a bundle of some of the books, like Ivan, Snow, and Roman, stuff like that. Like maybe bundle them up. I don't know. It's just a suggestion. I would like to own those copies. Okay, so that is it for my book haul. Thank the Lord, we have come to the end. Jessen, I swear, it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad. Whenever you take into consideration, this is April, May, and the first 2 weeks in June. Not too bad, but this is what they mean whenever they say that the TBR is an ever-growing list. It just never, you can never whittle it down. It will always be larger than what you can feasibly read through. But yeah, it's my only hobby. I will continue to buy books. eBay will continue to be a blessing and a curse, but I can't quit it. I can't quit it. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to get notified of any future videos that I do. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, life's better with a little HEA. Bye guys.